Greetings, R. Frederick Riddle here with another episode of Christian News and Views. This is episode 2612. And today is Monday. And so today we're going to look at something, an article I found on the internet. And I'm going to read it to you and then I'll give you my commentary. This one involves Elon Musk. Elon Musk says saving for retirement will be irrelevant if he's right about what the future holds. The Tesla and SpaceX CEO predicted AI would help create an abundance of resources for all. People would have whatever stuff they want, access to superb healthcare and education, he said. Saving for retirement has been a cornerstone of personal finance for well over a century rather. It could become pointless soon, Elon Musk says. Exceeds like $600 billion describes a future where advances in AI, energy, and robotics supercharge the productivity, creating an abundance of resources that will allow everyone to be granted a universal high income. The good future is anyone can have whatever stuff they want, Musk said. That would mean better medical care than anyone has today, available for everyone within 5 years, he continued. No scarcity of goods or services. You can learn anything you want about anything for free. However, the serial entrepreneur warned of a bumpy transition to this utopian world, marked by jarring change and social unrest. He also flagged a potential loss of purpose. Now, if you actually get all the stuff you want, is that actually the future you want? He asked, because it means that your job won't matter. Musk is known for transforming the auto sector with Tesla electric vehicles and revolutionizing the aerospace industry with SpaceX's reusable rockets. His companies are developing self-driving cars, humanoid robots, brain-computer interfaces, AI assistants, and other innovations as he paves his way to becoming the first trillionaire in history. Despite his track record, Musk's latest predictions clashes hard with the reality faced by many Americans. Years of stubborn inflation, elevated interest rates, and anemic wage growth have created an affordability crisis. Now, before I get into my actually written out opinion, I want you to understand some AI is here. AI is a fantastic tool that can transform your life. There are many, many things about it. My biggest advice on AI is check and verify. I teach that. Why? Because AI is not a moral being. It doesn't have good morals or bad morals. It's amoral. And so if you ask it a question, it will give you an answer, even if it has to invent the answer. However, AI is without a doubt having a very positive effect on industries. And I think that a lot of what Musk is saying about AI and other things that he's mentioned has a lot of truth in it. On the other hand, the Bible pictures a slightly different world. The Bible pictures that people, there will still be poor. In fact, Jesus said we will always have the poor amongst us. And so his vision is a little skewed, I would think, in that sense. A lot of people will benefit from it. There's no doubt about it. But there's always people who are left behind and they struggle. And that's true today. It's been true throughout history. And I don't think there's any way of for that not to be true in the future. But I'll give him a benefit of doubt. Now I remember something else, and I think I get in that my opinion, my written opinion. So let me get back to that. I have a ton of respect for Elon Musk. He is a dreamer, but he also happens to be a genius. So he is a dreamer, and he sees the positive possibilities here. He mentions social media. He saw social unrest and things of this nature. That stems from the fact there's going to be people on the bottom side of this, people who are hurt, people who uh, are not able to participate in this new world that he is describing. And so that's why I say when he says anyone or everyone, um, you have to take it with caution. And so all that said, I would approach his vision with caution. There are a lot of ifs involved, and he even mentions if this and if that, or if the vision he's seeing actually takes place. And he sees the possibility of bumps in those social unrest. I've already mentioned that. Putting this in perspective, I think you might put some money into investments that would benefit from his vision. But at the same time, I think the traditional saving for a future day is still wise. Were and still are people who claim that physical currency, and think dollar bills and coins, if you will, that those will disappear and all shopping, etc., will be done using electronic or digital currency. I was told years ago the IRS would no longer, within 2 or 3 years, the IRS was no longer going to be accepting uh, currency. You had to pay digitally, electronically. Well, that hasn't happened yet. And that was at least a decade ago, maybe longer. I think it was longer. That was supposed to have already been achieved. Now, it is true that digital currency is now amongst us, but it has not, repeat, it has not replaced physical currency. Why? Because we humans are for change. That influences others, but not so much for what affects us or influences us or impacts us, however you want to say it. The changes he claims will come may do so, but I suspect it will take a bit longer than he is suggesting. So if you trust him, then invest in that future, but continue the old fashioned savings plan just in case he is wrong. And like I said, when the Bible talks about the world in the future, there's still people who are poor. There's still people who are on the wrong side of economics, if you will. And I don't see that changing. There's no evidence of it, even with all the. I have lived 82 years, almost 83 now. And in that time, there's been a ton of changes, positive changes. There's also been a lot of changes that were not so positive. But there's the rich, the middle class, and the poor. And I don't see that happening. A lot of times, what you see happening is not that the poor disappear or the rich disappear. What disappears or shrinks is the middle class. And we have a middle class here in America. And you need to have a strong middle class. Um, in America, the possibility of going from poor to middle class or even poor to rich is available on a variety of reasons. So that is possible, but even that is still limited. The opportunities are limited. We don't. Sometimes they're limited by ourselves, our own visions, our own expectations, and things of this nature. On the other, still, to give him the benefit of the doubt, I think he is predicting what is very possible, and that is a very much more modernized economy, world that we live in. We'll see a lot of positive changes, but at the same time, there's going to be social upheaval, and the Bible predicts there's going to be a world war, World War III. Now, some people say we're in a World War III now, but it's not a physical war, and um, that's debatable to begin with. But the real war, where people die, where people have their land taken, or they lose their businesses and things of this, where they lose their lives, nations crumble and nations rise. That kind of war could be it could happen. Um, Once the rapture takes place, we will see much more social unrest, and we'll see much more uh, violence and things of this nature. And I say we, I won't be here. And if you're saved, if you know Jesus Christ, your Savior, you won't be here either. But that day is coming. And the world that he's talking about may trigger it. Because one of the things about these things that trigger and create more millionaires and stuff like that, it also has a way of, like I said, shrinking the middle class because they're going into the higher level, but also shrinks the middle class because the poor, their opportunities become less. And that is a tragedy that I think that there are safeguards that can be there. I think that if you really want to look at how I haven't really investigated this, so this is just speculation, folks. But if you take a look at the American Indian, in many cases, tribes have access to a huge source of wealth. Here in Florida, it seems to be the gambling industry. In other states, it seems to be oil and things of this nature. And they have complete control on a tribal level. And it's supposed to work down, so it makes it so every Indian has an equal opportunity. The problem is it don't work. When they do that, there are those up on the top who take more perhaps than they're supposed to. And there, that means the people on the bottom get less. And it spread, and it gives a division there. So there are different laws and things like they can do that humane laws that don't have to be liberal, don't have to take from the rich to give to the poor, just make things a little bit equal as far as opportunities and things of this nature. But basically, that and the capitalism itself provides for that when done properly. But the thing is that the American Indian is a good example of why that does not work. That thinking is because you still have human nature. There's still going to be people who will steal, rob, trick other people out of their money, scam them, whatever you want to call it. And there's still people who are going to be naive and be trapped and lose maybe their entire savings and things of this nature. Actually, you don't even have to be naive. They're getting so subtle and everything in their scams that no matter what level of education you're at, of awareness, social awareness, and everything, you can still be a victim. But the thing is this, I think Musk has a vision. I think there's some reality to it, but I also think there's dangers to it. And I also think that there's a little bit of unreality to it because real reality is that we have the poor. There's every indication we'll continue to have the poor right up until Christ returns. Now, when he returns, then he will institute his kingdom. And that will be a whole different story, folks. A whole different story. As long as we're in charge of creating kingdoms and governments and things like this, there's always going to be a problem. So my advice is he's probably got a lot going for him. His vision is probably accurate in many ways. So if you have the money to invest, remembering that investing or the stock market is itself a form of gambling. It's not illegal gambling. It's not immoral gambling or anything of that nature, but it is got a risk attached to it. So if you have money that you feel you can afford to lose, then go ahead and invest in that future. But at the same time, if I was you, if you have that, I'd put some money into a savings or checking or some kind of asset that will provide for your future. Many people use gold, silver, and things of this nature. Some go use crypto. I don't have any confidence in crypto at all. But the thing is, some people do, and they put their money there. Whatever you do, try to balance it out a little bit because his vision is his, not necessarily everybody else's. He sees things that may come to pass, but there are other things that he sees that may never be realized. So you got to be cautious. As I say about AI, check and verify, check and verify, check and verify. You have a great day. Oh, and by the way, I always try to inspire you, inform you, and uh, let's see, inspire. My mind just went by. And try to inform you, encourage you, and inspire you. That's why. And so I always try to do those three things. At least I've informed you, at the very least. Hopefully, I've inspired, maybe even encouraged you. But so you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode.